Welcome everyone. Welcome to Retro Review for UFC 80. The reason I picked UFC 80 was because I started watching fights when I was 18. That's basically 2008. I'm 34 now. This fight card took place on the 19th of January in Manchester, England. This fight card was headlined by the great BJ Penn versus Joe Daddy Stevenson. If you look back to his career, he don't really get the due he deserved, I believe, because he was pretty for the early days. He was a real good martial artist. This fight card was a good fight card, but let's talk about the prelims. The prelims was alright. As it took place in England, the fights were basically a lot of British fighters. The only fight I think that kind of stuck out for me from the prelims was, I think it's Paul Taylor versus Paul Kelly. Paul Kelly, I think, was walked out of Michael Bisping, so that was a big deal. The CNM fight was a good fight. It was back and forth, 3-round. I think Paul Kelly won the decision. Yes, Paul Kelly won the decision. So I'm going to start off with talking about the main card. The main card started off against Jorge Rivera versus Kendall Grove. To me, when I saw this fight card, I was kind of amazed because if you look, this is some good star power. Because Jorge Rivera have knockout power. He's a good fighter. He's an exciting fighter, and he fought to the next 5-6 years after this. So he had a little longevity after this fight. But Kendall Grove, on the other hand, man, oh my God! I remember when he won the 3rd season of Ultimate Fighter, and he's a 6'6", tall, lanky guy, good in jiu-jitsu, great striker, and he was in middleweight too. So it was amazed me how he never became big or became a big star in MMA. So the fight starts off, and Jorge Rivera just mauls him. Not mauls him, kind of runs towards him, takes him to the ground, attacks, throws ground and pound, and before you know it, he shuts off Kendall Grove in the first round. He shuts him off completely. And I was amazed. I was like, this is the guy, because, yeah, I probably have saw this fight in the past. I completely forgot about it. But I always took Kendall Grove in high regard because his physique, being 6'6" and 185, I don't know. I just think he didn't fight to his best potential. He's very inconsistent. He would win one fight. He'll win one fight. Then lose. Win one fight, lose. And it just kept on happening till, it never worked out for him. And he was from Hawaii. He was a big Hawaii star before Max Holloway. So I was amazed how Rivera got him out in the first round. So the first fight was good. If I have to give it, because it could have been more back and forth, but I'll give him a solid 8 out of 10. A good solid 8 out of 10. The next fight in the card was Wilson Guevara versus Jason Lambert. So you see, these are fighters, unless you basically watch the fights back in the day, you really don't know the kind of hype these fighters had. Wilson Guevara was a good fighter. He was a good fighter. But his problem was, he fought in the 205 division where all the good fighters were still there. You had your Rashad Evans, Forrest Griffins, Rampage Jacksons, you had Lyoto Machida coming up, Shogun. You just had so much star power. Keith Jardine back in the day was a monster. He fought Keith Jardine and he made it a competitive fight. So he fought in a time where there was just too many good people at 205. Not like today. I find if he came today and he fought, he probably would be like a top 5 fighter, no doubt. Wilson Guevara was legit. He was a good fighter. And he took on Jason Lambert. And Jason Lambert now came off a KO win against Babalu. Yes, he knocked out Babalu in the beginning of the second round in his last fight. So the hype was just, both these people, Keith Jardine, Wilson Guevara just fought Keith Jardine, so he lost, but he showed a good fight, so people were excited to see him. And Jason Lambert now knocked out Babalu. So it was a hype fight. And I think when the fight started off, I think Lambert, the win against Babalu got to his head because he just rushed him. He rushed Wilson. The first round, he rushed him, ground and pound, didn't give him a chance to breathe, smothered him. But the second round, he was too reckless. He was way too reckless. Wilson Guevara, pop. He just watched him coming in, threw a hook, and knocked him out cold. Put him out cold. And Jason Lambert woke up and he was disappointed because he was doing so well. But remember, it's MMA. It just, you can't be so reckless. You know, I understand you may be winning a fight. You're always winning a fight before you lose it. So, you know, he won. He was winning the fight till he lost. But it was a good fight. It was a good fight. Another 8 out of 10, solid fight. When I was thinking about UFC 80, I think like in my mind I was like, this is not really a good card. Why don't I start from UFC 81 when Brock Lesnar fought? But I said, you know, I was 18. I started watching fights in 2008, so I'll cover the first pay-per-view and work my way top. Alright, so the next fight in the main card was Marcus Davis versus Jess Lawdin. You see, I don't even know how to pronounce his name because I haven't heard his name so much time in the commentary that I don't even know if I'm saying it right. But Marcus Davis, another killer, bro. That's another killer. You know, if you see him around this time, you will feel like he's such a killer because he had knockout power. He was a good fighter. But it's later on, the fights didn't go well for him because he was a kind of a guy who kind of got stuck in the wrong weight class. I'll elaborate more on it in a while. But the fight starts off, and this Jess Lawdin, I don't know much about him, but in his mindset, apparently he was a good grappler, but he wanted to strike Marcus Davis. And Marcus Davis catch him with a clean left coming in and knocked him out cold, man. Knocked him out. And, you know, that's what I'm saying. When you saw Marcus Davis in this time period, he was good. He was real good. Real good. But later on, he was fighting welterweight. He started fighting people like Dan Hardy. And Dan Hardy put a whooping on him. And then he fought Nate Diaz, and Nate Diaz was a 155 where he put a whooping on him. It was a good fight. It was a good fight. Don't get me wrong. He held his own because he had that knockout power. So that knockout power, he could have fought in welterweight and knock out somebody, but somebody who was bigger than him, bigger in size, could have always dominate him. So Marcus Davis was a good fighter. One of those people you should check out if you want to see some good KOs and stuff. Great fighter. This fight, I will give it another 8 out of 10. It was a good fight. It's just, the reason I'm giving it an 8, not a 10 out of 10, it was just not a back and forth, but it was a good, clean knockout that you get to see in our UFC main card. It was good. So far, 3 finishes, 3 fights, 3 finishes. So the 4th fight in the main card was Gabriel Gonzaga versus, what's his name again, buddy? Fabricio Werdum. Fabricio Werdum, I don't know why I even forgot his name. He's a great fighter. I always enjoyed him. He's the first one to submit Fedor Emelianenko. And he was like, but this fight is way before that. Way before that. He got cut from the UFC way before that. At this is the time he was fighting in the UFC. You know what I mean? So Werdum versus Gonzaga. Gonzaga now came off a defeat from Randy Couture. Another great fighter, you should check him out. But Randy Couture exploited him. But so this fight was basically a title eliminator because Fabricio Werdum in his last fight he fought Andre Arlovski, and Andre Arlovski was big back then. So this was supposed to be a title eliminator. Both guys fought some high level guys, and trying to get back to the title. The fight started off, and the first round was Gabriel Gonzaga, man. Oh my God, the leg kicks. You guys should just go and check out this fight for Gabriel Gonzaga's leg kicks. It was like, this guy was made out of rock, slamming leg kicks into Werdum over and over and over and over. It was so good. It was so good. But second round, Werdum was like, you know what? I can't let him keep hitting me like this. So he rushed him. He put a pace on him, and Gabriel Gonzaga just couldn't keep up with him, and then rear naked choke. Boom. Fight over in the second round. Once again, good fight. This fight, I will give it a 9 out of 10 because this was back and forth. Because after you watched the first round, you were like, Gonzaga got this shit. But Werdum, there's a reason why he became a world champion and why he became so successful is because he had a dog in him. He really did have a dog in him. I saw the dog back in, he had it back in the day. You know what I mean? No wonder he became a world champion in the future. So great fight again, man. So now we're to the main card, the main event, the great BJ Penn versus Joe Daddy Stevenson. At this point in time, BJ Penn, right, he was a phenom. People knew how great he was, but his issue was cardio. People really didn't think he had the best cardio. He had just lost the welterweight belt to Matthews, and Matthews was like, I wish I could get a round fighter, you know. So this was a 5-round fight. A lot of people knew the brilliance of BJ Penn, and everybody knew, like, he was a great fighter. There was no doubt, but it was like, which BJ Penn will show up? Is it gonna be the one that fucking broke his hand on Mike Hughes' face and rear naked choked him? Or is it gonna be the BJ Penn who's just not motivated and stuff? So for this fight, BJ looked super motivated, super motivated, right? So Jodai Stevenson was a good fighter. He was young. At a very young age, he had about 30, 40 fights, and he was good. He was a good fighter. But he didn't have that kind of skill set as yet to beat BJ Penn, man. Because Jodai Stevenson was good at everything, but BJ Penn was great. He was just great. And I don't see like if at this period of time, I don't see a lot of people beating BJ Penn. So the fight starts off, BJ rocks him with the uppercut within the first 3 seconds and just mauls him throughout the fight. Doesn't give him a chance. But when I thought about the first time I saw the fight, I used to feel like BJ just mauled him. But Josiah Stevenson, he didn't die. It wasn't like he just got mauled. He fought back. He was fighting from the back. Even though he was in his back on the ground, he was fighting, throwing punches, good shots too. To the point, it basically annoyed BJ Penn. But for like 10 to 15 seconds before the first round was finished, BJ hit him with the elbow and blood. It was a tsunami. It wasn't like a leak. It was a tsunami of blood, man. And poor Jodai Stevenson, bro. We're going to the corner, all that blood. And the second round, before the second round could even start, the doctors were like, if this keep bleeding, we're going to stop the fight. So he came and he rushed BJ Penn, tried to put a fight out of it. He was throwing some bombs, trying to finish him. He landed with a great elbow. But once again, he was fighting the great BJ Penn. BJ gets him to the ground, rear naked choke, and it was a nice, visually looked so nice because he was blood. He just choked him out completely. And that was it, guys. UFC 80. Great, amazing fight card, man. 5 fights, 5 finishes. What else could you ask for, man? To me, that's solid 8.5 or 9 out of 10. I could sit back with my friends, my homies. If this and this fight card is free on YouTube as well. So if you want to sit back with your friends and enjoy a good fight card, UFC 80 is a card to watch. Also, the significance of it was you had your first lightweight champion, a real legit lightweight champion in the UFC. You had your Sean Shirks. Yeah, he was a champion prior to BJ, but he tested positive for steroids. So there wasn't like a legit champion. We had a was it Paul? I can't remember his name, man. The guy BJ fought for and he lost for the belt. I'll be butchered. I know his name, Little Heather or something they call him, man. But Jens Pulser or something. Jens Pulser or something. BJ beat him in his last fight. So he kind of basically took revenge for his loss. And then in the next fight, he becomes a world champion and he goes on to beat some great fighters and, basically making the belt legit. And it's kind of surprising to say 155 or the belt wasn't legit, but at our time, nobody cared about 55. But now you look, Conor McGregor, Justin Poirier, Nate Diaz, Khabib, you can name it, all and all. So that was a review for UFC 81. It's so strange to say UFC in just one number. I'm so used to 10, 20, 30, but UFC 80, right? BJ Penn. So stay tuned, guys. Next pay-per-view, the next review will be UFC 81. That's headlined by Nogueira versus Tim Sylvia. And also the co-main event is gonna be amazing. It's Frank Mir versus Brock Lesnar. I remember going to high school, not knowing nothing about MMA, and people talking about Brock Lesnar gonna fight in UFC. I was like mind blown at how, because he was leaving the ring to come to the cage. So stay tuned, guys. I hope you guys like the review. And basically, I'm trying to build a community of MMA fans who I could talk and chat with. We'll go live in the future. Please let me know in the comments if you guys ever watched UFC 80 and what were your thoughts about it after watching it. And please share it, guys. I really appreciate it.